Hello, this is Ray Stendall. Thank you so much for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Napoleon Hill Ezine video newsletter. I'm joined with Judy Williamson from the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And Judy, it's been so long. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, and I missed our chats. It's good to be back. We just got back last Wednesday from our leader certification in Ireland again this year, and we had a tremendous time.
Oh,
You're going to have to join us on the next one.
I'll
It,
definitely.
it was really, really great.
It's been a few years since I went to my certification, and I'd love to come back and enjoy all that positive energy with people really moving forward to take Napoleon Hill's message and philosophy to new people who have not heard it, who could really impact their lives. So that's wonderful. You're absolutely glowing. So
And it's your turn to be a mentor. See, people want to learn from you now, and you have to come in that role instead of a student role. You have to be a mentor to these people.
absolutely. I look forward to coming back and to sharing some ideas and mentoring others along the path. Absolutely.
Oh, great.
So in
Great.
this week, we have a very exciting topic all about autosuggestion, really. And now I have a couple of ideas on it, but I'd like to ask you, what really stood out for you in this particular e-zine?
Well, I'm kind of a purist, and I like to go back to the statement that Emile Coué made years and years ago that influenced Napoleon Hill. And it's that simple statement that says simply, in every way, every day, I get better and better. And when we think about that, some people say that's too simplistic. It really can't work because why would just saying something positive to ourselves make us have higher self-esteem? But it does work.
Hmm.
Because on the flip side of things, we know those negative thoughts that come into our daily routine tend to bring us down. A positive thought will bring us up. And I know you've done more research on this recently, and I'd like to hear your viewpoint on that too, because we can carry it over to, this year and begin to think about what current researchers are saying about that. What does the power of that simple statement do for us in our subconscious mind?
Well, Judy, some time ago I came across an author, Dr. Truman Fleet, and he was out of Texas, and in the 1950s he wrote a book called Concept Therapy, and in this book he described a model for how the mind operates, and he called it the stickman diagram. For those of
Okay.
you watching, I'd really encourage you to Google this, Dr. Truman Fleet. And once you take a look at what he has to say, it's really quite powerful. So let me describe it. If we can imagine a stickman diagram, so imagine my head and a line through the middle from ear to ear. The top half represents the conscious mind, the thinking mind, the logical mind. The bottom half represents the subconscious mind, the feeling mind, or the emotional mind, connected to a body, a little circle with two little legs and two little arms. Okay, so why is this significant? Well, on this topic and in this e-zine, we have some phrases at the very top of this e-zine, which is very powerful and in a negative way. As an example, you're just lazy, you must be stupid, you got what you deserved, very negative types of statements. And the reason I bring up this research and this model is because if we think about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, it's important to realize that unless we're guarding the information that comes at us through our five senses, we can see, we can smell, we can hear, we can taste, we can touch. Think of these as antennae on top of this stickman. That's how Truman Freet described it. So information is coming to us into our subconscious mind. And in the case of a baby, for example, it just flows right into the conscious mind because the baby is not conscious enough to pay attention to what it is they should pay attention to and what they should block, and then it flows right through to the subconscious mind. And when it enters into our subconscious mind, it really impacts our beliefs, it impacts our paradigms of what we hold to be true and our perceptions in life, and ultimately it impacts our self-image.
Hmm.
And when it impacts our self-image, it really controls what it is that we even attempt to do in life. I'm reminded of a metaphor of a thermostat inside of a home. I grew up outside of Toronto, Canada, and we have very cold winters up there. And when you would open up the front door in the middle of the winter, that nice temperature inside the house would start to go down to a certain point, and then the thermostat would kick in and the furnace would turn on and it would heat up the temperature right back to where it was before. Similarly, in the summertime, if you opened up the door, all that hot air would come in, the temperature was modified, the air conditioner would go on. Well, you have a thermostat inside of your mind which is related to your self-image, which is influenced by the ideas that other people share with you, which you either volitionally allow to go into your subconscious mind or by accident goes into your subconscious mind, and it impacts your thermostat level. If you ever wondered why you're earning the money that you're earning, or you have the relationships that you do, it's because you have set a thermostat of what you truly would expect in your life. And the reason I wanted to share this research with you all is because these statements that you have here are examples of the types of statements we have to be very careful on. And it comes back to one of the earlier videos I remember, Judy, we made, where we have to really police ourselves, as my dad would say, or conduct introspection to make sure that we are really buying into the right set of ideas and not just taking what comes at us.
Right. That's excellent. I hadn't heard that thermostat analogy before, and I like it. It makes a lot of sense to me, and I can see that. Well, I think the word is homeostasis. We're going to come to a point in our own belief system where we think that's where we're supposed to be, whatever that temperature is, and we can't go below or above. Another analogy that I heard that I like, and this was on a recording done by another author, he talked about those negative statements were like a recording, and he used the old concept of the LPN record. And he said, what you need to do is you need to get in there and scratch that record so that doesn't keep playing and playing in your mind. So he said, physically create an image in your mind's eye where you take, whatever, a pen or an instrument and scratch the grooves on that record, on that recording, so that you can't listen to it anymore. And I think that's very legitimate too, because when we listen to those things playing over and over again, all the hateful things that teachers, maybe even relatives or friends or whomever said to us, we bring ourselves down a downward spiral, and we say, I can't do what it is I'd like to do. It gets right back to exactly what you said in that research. It repurposes the direction that we need to take. And once we can admit that, okay, I'm really not that type of a person who has a set temperature, I can go beyond that. I think that's when we begin to see those, big, leaps of faith in our life, and we begin to take those leaps too physically so that we can create the outcome that we want.
Absolutely. As you were talking, something that popped in my mind is an exercise that I do with some of my clients. It's called the Ideal Me exercise. And the Ideal Me exercise is all about identifying, first of all, 50 to 70 adjectives or words that can that describe the ideal version of yourself. So you might think, I'm a creative, loving, energetic, innovative, prosperous person. Okay, you come up with these words, about 50 to 70 words. And then you take these words and you put it in the present personal tense. And you create a little essay, a one-page essay that uses as many of those words as possible. And this ultimately becomes an integrated, multifaceted affirmation that you repeat to yourself to really help shape the beliefs about who you are and to really help boost your self-esteem and to move that thermostat level higher up. And I've seen great success with people who've really taken the time to go through this introspection and this model, because it's really about reprogramming yourself. And those of us that are able to do that are able to constantly get better and better and better, and can stay away from the people who really are not serving us by sharing ideas that are really not in our best interest. Even though they may not maliciously be trying to do so, they're doing so because that is their way of communicating and who they are. But that doesn't mean that we have to believe what they say if it doesn't serve us.
That's right. That's right. And so often people seek out opinions of others or advice, or they accept confrontation, and mainly that serves as a put down to where someone says, well, you're good, but you could improve in this area, or you could do this better. And if we tell ourselves the areas that we can improve in, and then if we set our own rules, like our guest columnist says, Wally Cato this week, I think that gives us a different stepping off point. It enables us to show improvement without that hurt of criticism that, people can direct at us, and we can really begin to see some momentum being built there. But if we just listen to people and hear that negativity that may come out, like, oh, you could have done this better, or you didn't do that so well, or you should have tried it this way, and all these things start to grow like a big ball of rubber bands that people, keep allowing to expand. Pretty soon we don't think we can do anything, and we don't want to get to that place. We want to be empowered, and we want to take those beliefs and values and make our life a better version of what it is right now, so that we can live to the fullest capacity that we have. I like your analogy, and I like with the thermostat, and I also like that piece of research that you brought out, because that picture of the conscious and subconscious mind, if we mentally envision that can remind us of how we really operate, what our internal mechanism is.
Right. And just continuing on with that diagram, I didn't share the rest piece of it actually. So if we envision, we are conscious of what comes into our conscious mind, our thinking mind, our logical mind. It moves into our subconscious mind. You can imagine even a little bridge. Just imagine your nose as a bridge that goes across. That's my innovation on his model, by the way. Anyhow, as we go into the subconscious mind, that's where we emotionalize that with which we really want. And it comes back to cultivating that burning desire. So if you think about in your life things that you've really, really wanted and dreamt of and took pictures of, and somehow a few years later it materialized in your world, it's because you've gone through this process.
That's right.
And that drives you to take that actions. And that action is met with a reaction, and this action-reaction process relative to the circumstances around you leads to an end result, which can either be an upward spiraling motion, which further encourages you to bigger and better things, or it can be a negative spiraling motion. Remember, whatever you feed the mind and goes through into form is either going to take you up or take you down. And your job in life is to take you up and to control those thoughts. And the other thing, Judy, I was thinking of as you were talking is the difference between counsel and opinion. Counsel and opinion. See, everybody's got an opinion, and many people will give you their opinion. But there's a difference of you seeking counsel from the people who are doing what it is you want to do,
Exactly.
who can share their wisdom and experience to help you get closer. And you want to make sure you get counsel from people who give you this constructive criticism to show you the path, as opposed to push you down to pull you up, which is not necessary.
Right. Now, the whole time I've been listening to you talk, you're talking about something that's very dear to me, and that's application, because you're not simply talking about thinking about doing something. You're talking about the internalized process coming forward and being manifested into some physical reality, into some application. And that's the hardest thing to move people from point A to point B in, because many people say, well, I'll think about it for a while and see where it gets me. Well, it's not going to take you anywhere unless you, after internalizing it, bring it forth. And you have to take that action, whatever it is, whether it's a successful or not successful action, to bring you to the next level. And everything that you talked about just now, that you do with your students, that you do with people that you're connected and coaching with, is an application activity. And that's where the real results begin. So that's good.
Absolutely. And if you think about, if you're at home and you're wondering why you haven't taken action on something, I encourage you to think of 3 words. The first word is desire. Do you really want it? Second word is belief. What is your level of belief that you can actually do it? And the third word is will. What is your will to maintain sustained concentration to take those steps to move forward? And all of us in every various aspects of our lives take action and don't take action on certain things, and then we have to live by those consequences. I mean, all of us strive to do the best we can, and I know all of us are doing the best we can, but if you really want to go to the next step, this level of introspection around those 3 words relative to what you want in life, if you have defined it clearly, can make all the difference in the world.
That's absolutely true, and it's the best advice that you can give anybody listening to this video. Take action.
Take action, absolutely, and learn from it, absolutely. Well, Judy, another exciting episode. Thank you so much for taking the time
Thank you for making it possible. I really appreciate it. And I see that our level of listening public, or whatever you want to call it, is going up. So we want to welcome new people, and we want to thank the old for watching us too.
And please do share this with your colleagues, with your friends. People that you know need to hear this message of hope and inspiration and positive ideas, because really we live in interesting times right now all around the globe. There's a lot of things going on, and it's only through taking actions in a consistent and methodical manner that we're going to be able to increase our own position, increase the position of our families, and ultimately increase the position of the entire world through innovation, job creation, and really prospering in this abundant world that we live in.
And those are good rules to live by.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks. Thank you so much, Judy.
Thanks, Ray.